over the school, still a B-boy. East coast to the west, B-boys worldwide. We supposed to be blessed, still a B.
This week, we're looking at the short but sweet projects hip hop has brought us over the years. Sometimes quality is better than quantity. We're looking at the top 10 hip hop extended plays, or as most people know them as EPs. Today, I got Raven Hunter and Brad Sadler both back on the round table. It's just the three of us today. So we're going to do hip hop EPs. So I'm going to start in 1996 and we're going to the Motor City. And this EP just makes me smile too much. It had to make it. It probably isn't a top 10 EP, but it just makes me feel good. And that is the Insane Clown Posse's, I got to cover, Tunnel of Love EP. I don't know, there's just something about this EP. They have a lot of EPs, ICP, and but like the sex songs, Cotton Candy, Super Balls, always makes me laugh. The harder songs like Stomp and My Kind of Bitch, I like. There's really no weak spots. It's got the great hidden track with like the game show, You're a Stupid Ass. Out of all Psychopathic Records EPs, this is definitely my favorite. I had to show love. So that's what I got. ICP, Tunnel of Love. Raven, what do you got at number 10?
So I also was in the Motor City area, and I came out with Twisted's Mirror Mirror. It's probably one of my favorite projects from Twisted. It was the lead into Green Book. Green Book should have had that same grimy, reverby sound that Mirror Mirror had, and they like put out a bunch of singles that had that sound and then switched it up to some totally different shit and put Shaman songs he didn't belong in. And the EP, I think, stood up better than the Green Book did, and I like pretty much every song on that EP. So yeah, I would put Mirror Mirror from Twisted at number 10.
That's a record with Left Field in it, right?
Yeah.
I remember Green Book coming out and being a little disappointed in it.
Yeah, so. It had a totally different sound than their last three albums, and
right.
Mirror Mirror felt like a bait and switch at that point because it was supposed to be the lead into it'll all be revealed in the book, right. And then the book had some weird ass beats in it and shit.
All right, Brad, what do you got at number 10?
So I also kept it White Boy and kept it Detroit, but went with Kid Rock's Fired Up EP. I don't like Kid Rock now. I loved Kid Rock in the 90s. And Fired Up made it for the last song on that EP, Rolling on the Island, is just incredible. That's one of my favorite hip-hop songs of all time, favorite Kid Rock songs of all time, with West Chill and Prince Vince. Kid Rock's raps on there is awesome. I still want to go to Belle Isle and find Kid Rock like chilling in the gutter somewhere.
Kid Rock might be the biggest sellout in musical history, but in the 90s, he made some great hip hop songs. It's amazing what he's turned into. But you can't front like Early Morning Stone Pimp. I love that record. That whole record pretty much is great.
Polyfuse Method was
Polyfuse Method, yeah. Even Grit Sandwiches has some good songs on it.
Mike Clark produced that whole album. So.
Right. When you're listening to like Yodeling in the Valley, and you never could have predicted what he would have turned out to be now with fucking Mega Hat and stuff.
Right.
All right, we are to number 9, and I'm going to the West Coast 1995. It's a rare EP, so I'll be surprised if anyone has on their list. But EA Ski Blast If I Have To EP. This was kind of slid under the radar. EA Ski really was a producer. Then he got known for the song Blast If I Have To on the Friday soundtrack. But he put out this EP, and it's like, I think the other songs on the EP are even better than Blast If I Have To, and I love Blast If I Have To. So songs like When the Smoke Clears and Same Old Brother. And I really think EA Ski doesn't get enough credit for being a dual threat artist. He's an amazing producer, but he's an amazing rapper. I put him right up there with dual threats like Quick, even Dre, Eric Sermon, in that list of people who can do it both at a high level. So I love this EP. Most people don't have it, but I had to show it love. So Ski, Blast If I Have To. If you ever track it down and you don't have it, it's worth the money. Raven, number 9.
Side note on EA Ski, I'm a big fan. I've got like 4 or 5 of his cassette tapes from when he was on Intimate Records with No Limit Records.
Right.
Because I collect No Limit merchandise. So I'm glad somebody brought him up. He didn't make my list, but number 9, I'm gonna go. Well, I guess it would have been somewhere between the West Coast and down south, depending on what era. I think he was still in Richmond. 1995, Master P, 99 Ways to Die. It's full of Got No Names, whole games, When They Gone, Dead Presidents. Yeah, EA Ski and CMT producing it along with Al Eaton and Master P. It was my first album I got from Master P. It came out like right before Ice Cream Man did. And I picked it up because the cover had him like holding 2 pistols, and I was like, this is bad as shit. That's a band cover that is actually pretty rare, and I still have that cassette too. So yeah, I think 95, it would be that would probably be my pick. Master P, 99 Ways to Die.
That's easily my favorite Master P project and probably his best.
Yeah, he actually rapped on most of those tracks. So.
On beat even.
Right, exactly.
Right?
He didn't even just stumble and scream, you know.
No, that was on my honorable mentions. I'm glad it got brought up. That is a really good EP. And that might have been the first Master P I bought too, was that. That was around the same era as Down South Hustlers came out.
Yeah,
Ish,
yeah, it was same year, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a good one. That was honorable mention. Brad, what you got at number 9?
I had it to the West Coast too, and probably nobody is going to have this on there, but maybe someone will discover this amazing EP. I'm a huge fan of DJ Quick and Rosecrans. Came out in 2016, initially as an EP, and then it was re-released maybe a year or 2 later on streaming as a whole LP. I never really thought the whole LP was as good. The EP is really tight. Every song is a jam. The beats are awesome. I had no idea who who Problem was before that EP, and I actually started to really like him after that as well too. So that one's coming in for number 9 for me.
That project really slid under the radar, I think, for people. I think a
don't
lot of
I even
people
heard of that EP.
Yeah, it really slid under the radar for whatever reason.
If you like DJ Quick,
Right.
and I really like DJ Quick's like post 2010 output too. A lot of great albums, and interestingly, a lot of really great reviews from critics for his post 2010 work. And Rosecrans is a short, just awesome sound. It just sounds amazing. Every song is pleasing to the ear. So check it out. Let me know what you think.
Definitely will. Definitely will.
Yeah, it's worth checking out. Anything Quick pretty much is worth checking out. All right, number 8. I'm going back to 1991. West Coast again, but we're going up to the Bay. Digital Underground, it's an EP release. So of course, the most famous thing about this EP is the same song, first time the world heard Tupac rap. But it's more than that. There's remixes of The Way We Swing, which is a top 10 Digital Underground song to me. I love that song. Packet Man is on there. And I think Tie the Knot is an underrated song. Although it didn't happen. When I was a kid, I always thought, when I get married, I'm going to have that be my wedding song. Digital Underground rapping about getting married. It didn't happen. But this is Shock G and Digital Underground, Money B in their prime. Same era as Sex Packets, Humpty Dance, everything everyone knows them for. So EP release, if nothing else, for same song. But there is more than that to it. So it had to make my list. Digital Underground EP release. Raven, what is 8?
So number 8 for me was 1992 West Coast, MC Ren, Kiss My Black Ass. Behind the scenes, Final Frontier, Hound Dogs, DJ Bobcat, I think, helped produce that album with MC Ren. It went platinum in 1 month, which really showed like the power of NWA, because it was a 5-song EP and it went platinum in a month, sold over 1 million copies. It's his best work next to like Mad Scientist and The Villain in Black and shit. So I would MC Ren, Kiss My Black Ass.
It's the first time we hear Ren solo. We will be talking about that album again. So that is a good pick. Brad, what do you got at number 8?
All right, number 8. I'm going to go back to Detroit, and I'm going to choose the same EP that you chose from the Insane Clown Posse. I went back and forth. I mean, ICP has, so first of all, they've got Dog Beats, which is kind of their like gangster rap, EP, which is also really good and just pleasant to listen to. But honestly, Tunnel of Love was at the peak of my height of loving ICP. It was right after or right before the Riddle Box. I can't remember time exactly. I think it was right after.
Yeah.
And I was in college. My wife actually got into ICP for a little bit as well too. We went to a couple of awesome shows in Detroit around that time. Just a lot of fond memories, and of course the funny sex songs like Cotton Candy, Super Balls. So I went with that one as well. It won out just out of, and it's really pleasing to the ear. Like the beats are just really pleasant. So I like it.
That brings us to 7, and let's stay in Detroit, right? A Detroit legend, 1994, Esham, Maggot Brain Theory. I had Helter Skelter in this slot until this morning, and I'll explain why. So the intro and the song Traces of My Blood Type are throwaway tracks, right? So I thought it shouldn't make the list. But the tracks that hit is Esham in his window of prime. The title track, Mega Brain Theory, is just perfect Esham to me. Dig It on a DL, although it was on Closed Casket, is still a really good song. And I Know You Hate Me is great if you just went through a breakup with a girl or something. It's a great song to play. He's got a handful of classic EPs, especially earlier in his career. But I think the songs that are great on Maggot Brain are greater than the sum of the other ones that might be a little bit more solid, like Helter Skelter. So I went with Maggot Brain Theory. What do you got, Raven, at number 7?
All right. I'm glad you mentioned Maggot Brain Theory. That one got shaved off like 2 days ago. It was supposed to make my list. But number 7, I stayed in Detroit as well for 1994 with the Terror Wheel. The Smog is one of my favorite songs from them. Amy's in the Attic, of course, is always going to be one of their best storytelling songs they had. And then Stuck It With My Wang's hilarious. Schizophrenic is awesome.
That's right.
Dead Body Man is amazing. Like every song is a hit. Terror Wheel, or yeah, Tunnel of Love nearly made my list. It would have been the Triple X version because of Mental Warp. But it ended up, I like the Smog and Amy's in the Attic so much. It's probably my favorite 2 songs from them in that era. So Terror Wheel, 94.
Brad, what do you got at number 7?
All right, so I'm sticking in Detroit as well too. Obviously, we know Detroit put out a lot of great EPs, and I'm gonna go with Esham. I didn't pick Maggot Brain Theory, and partly I didn't even consider it because those first 2 songs, or the maybe it's Coming Out of Coma. I can't remember I just remember like it doesn't start well. But you're right. I Know You Hate Me is great. Stop Digging on the DL is awesome. I think Traces of My Blood Type I don't really like. It's kind of like like a talk one where he just
it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's not
so there's a couple songs that I didn't like, and then I was like, I love Helter Skelter all the way through. I mean, that's probably the best EP that Esham put out, but I went with Homie Don't Play. And the reason for that is my friend and I would when we found that EP, we'd take it in the car, and I don't know why we did this. We put on chef hats and we would actually go cruising down 7 Mile, like bumping that song, cruising down 7 Mile. And that has such great memories. And it's the whole album's pretty good. So I picked it just for memories.
All right, 6. I lied. I said I'm only in Detroit in the West, and I overlooked this because they're on Ruthless Records. 1994, Bone Thugs and Harmony, Creeping on the Come Up. They changed the game. There was literally no group before them that had this sound. It did not exist. And even at the time, so 94, I'm still in high school. I didn't even think I fully got it at first. I only bought it because Eazy-E was on it, and I was a huge Eazy-E fan. But songs like No Surrender, Thuggish Ruggish Bones, of course, Love for the Money with Eazy-E are hip hop classics. And I saw an interview a while ago with Dirty Red, who was on Ruthless for a little bit before Eazy died. And he said Eazy brought him the Bone Thug tape to play it for him and see what he thought. And he was telling Eazy, this is stupid. People on the street aren't going to like this. They're singing and rapping. It's not going to work. He's like, I didn't understand it at all. I told Eric this would be a stupid move to sign him, but obviously Easy knew what he was doing. And Bowen would go on to blow up and be huge, stars even to this day. So first time the world heard him, they had Faces of Death Underground before that. Creeping on to come up. Number 6, Raven, what you got?
I'll be talking about that EP later in the show as well. But I'm gonna stick into the West Coast, and yeah, we're gonna go 1992 for Eazy-E's 5150, Home for the Sick. Only If You Want It, Neighborhood Sniper, Homies My Height Don't Fight, Merry Motherfucking Christmas. Like every song is a fucking hit on this EP. And I wish he would have did the Mental Insanity double album or whatever. It would have been insane.
Yeah.
Just because this era of Eric was my favorite Eazy-E. And Easy Does It, of course, was the first album that got me into rap. So it's, Easy had to make my list. And he makes it somewhere else, I think. But
Right.
5150.
No, that's a great EP, and that'll be talked about again later too. I think a lot of these now are going to overlap, but
Right.
that is Easy in his prime, window. All right, Brad, what you got at number 6?
All right, so I'm actually going to go close to where I live now and down south, and I'm going to make you a little upset. I'm going with Lil Wayne, The Week. Actually, I think so. This Lil Wayne was working on the Carter 3. These songs were supposed to appear on the Carter 3, but they never did. Somehow they got leaked. The 4 songs are incredible. I'm Me is one of my favorite Lil Wayne songs of all time. And it's an awesome little 4-song EP that I think is amazing. So I had to put Lil Wayne on there just to piss you off a little bit.
It don't piss me off. I just don't get it. I never will get him. I'll never get why people think he's so great, but
I love his voice.
See, and that's what kills me. His voice just is annoying as hell to my ears.
I love that froggy voice. And honestly, like when I think about Cash Money versus No Limit, like I feel like, and no offense, I know you love No Limit, but like when I was, after Tupac died, I was searching for new hip hop to listen to, and I stumbled on a No Limit, and it always felt just kind of like a little bootleg to me. And I felt like when I found Cash Money that it was just a little bit of an upgrade. Like they actually cared about the beats. They actually cared about how the records sound. They weren't just throwing 500 songs on an album. And so it was just a little bit better. And then when Lil Wayne became a superstar, I was on board.
So number 5, we're halfway through, and I'm going to 1992's 5150, Home for the Sick. Like you said, all skip or no skips. Every song is great. You mentioned the 3 main ones, and Merry Motherfucking Christmas is a tradition to me. Not only is it the best hip hop Christmas song ever, since about when this came out, every Christmas day I have to play this song. It's become a tradition. I've been doing it for 25 years.
I pull it out on Christmas Eve myself, so yeah. I'm with you on that.
And NWA had just broken up, and this was Easy was showing, Ruthless was still going strong, even though NWA was officially over. Eazy-E 5150, number 5 for you, Raven.
I'm gonna stay in the same area, but I'm gonna go 1990 with Ice Cube, Kill It Will. Sir Jinx and Ice Cube and Chili Chill killed the production on that album. Endangered Species with Chuck D is fucking, a banger. Jacking for Beats is epic. Of course, everyone knows that song. Dead Homies and Get Off My Dick and Tell Your Bitch to Come Here is like, it's just a great song. So I love that EP, and it was like right before he just blows up on NWA and it's just like fuck everyone. So
no, it was the perfect bridge between America's Most and Death Certificate. It really was.
Definitely.
All right, what you got, Brad, at number 5?
I'm gonna go with Eazy-E. It's on Dre 187 on the Killa. So interestingly, when I got into hip hop, I got in around 1992. I bought The Chronic, and when I listened to The Chronic, Eazy-E was a bitch. I had no idea anything about him other than he was this punk guy, and I was like, he sucks. And it wasn't until like a few years later that I got Easy Does It, and I was like, holy shit, this is incredible, this is amazing. So then I went through his whole catalog, and probably one of the last ones I picked up was It's Andre, because I was like, no one can diss Dre, he's undissable. And actually, that's just an incredible, great G-Funk release, kind of copies that G-Funk sound, but it's got Easy's voice on it, and all the songs are awesome. And actually, the guys he brings on who he's rapping with, I never got into their, I tried to get into their solo stuff because they sound so amazing on there, but it was never as good as on that Easy EP.
No, it's definitely classic. It will be talked about again. That's Easy
And
This.
again.
And again. Yeah. So number 4, we just heard about it. Ice Cube, Kill at Will. You mentioned all the main songs, but I also want to give love to the song The Product. I think it's a great Cube storytelling. He starts from when he was a sperm cell and brings you through his, life. Another amazing West Coast EP from the 90s. You pretty much touched on everything else. Perfect bridge between America's Most and Death Certificate. Nothing else can really be said about it. So we'll go to you, Raven, number 4.
So number 4, I went in to the New York area of hip hop from 2002. Definitive Jukes put out an album from an artist named Aesop Rock. It was called Daylight, and it's one of my favorite EPs of all time. LP, Blockhead and Aesop produced the album, so it has that classic Def Jukes New York grimy sound, like lower New York, upper Philly type of sound, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And I always liked Aesop. He never rhymes, and half the time never made sense, but I just always really liked his voice and like the way he stutter flowed, like stumble flowed, if that makes sense. But the song Daylight is followed up by the song Nightlight, which is the polar opposite of Daylight. The beat is the same but different. He changes the lyrics but keeps the same verses and the same flow, but it's all the opposite of what he says in Daylight. And it was always a really cool little 2-part story that I really loved. And also what the fuck, Nickel Plated Pockets. It's about like the World Trade Center and shit. It's another really good song. So I would go Aesop Rock Daylight.
All right, Brad, what you got at number 4?
All right, I've got NWA's 100 Miles and Running. Just an awesome little EP. I think it was the first thing they put out after Cube left, kind of in between Straight Outta Compton and FL4 and I dug it. I thought it was really good, and that's why it ended up at number 4 on my list. Obviously, Just Don't Matter, Just Don't Bite It. It's a good one, a great sex song. Great little EP.
Yeah, and the title track is I think a top 10 NWA song. Not that they have a huge catalog, but that is a great song. And that's the first time you hear them taking shots at Cube. Dre takes shots at Cube on that song, and that whole thing kind of snowballed a little bit.
Yeah, they got beat in that rap war.
They got destroyed. Yeah.
There was 2 tracks on that one that they took shots at with Cube, and that was definitely an
Do they on
issue for them.
Surprise too?
I think it was either Surprise or Real Homies. It was one of those
you're
2
right.
songs.
It was on Real Homies. Top 3. We are here. I'm going to Detroit for the last time. In 2011, we're not going back in the 90s. 2011, Eminem Royce 5'9", Bad Meets Evil 2. I love this. So I look at Eminem's career in phases. You got, if you don't count, like he did Infinite, which wasn't out on a major scale, but I look at the beginning as like the Slim Shady up to Eminem show, and then his music took a dip, in my opinion. Encore, I was completely disappointed. He came back and did Relapse. It was weird as hell. But then when he did Recovery, I was like, oh shit, Eminem's back. And he was back on top of the mountain. And this is the era this comes out. He had been beefing with Royce. They came back together, squashed the beef, and both of them are on their A game. There's really no track I don't like. Some of my favorites are Welcome to Hell, Lighters, Fast Lane, Above the Law. And it's 2 of the most lyrical MCs gelling perfectly together. And it's a hip hop head's dream EP. So M and Royce, Bad Meets Evil 2. What do you got, Raven, at number 3?
I'm just gonna copy and paste what you just said because that's my number 3. It's nearly a perfect EP.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on everything with the Mike Epps
Yes.
sampling was always my favorite shit. The only thing that took this from like the God tier perfect EP was Liz Rodriguez being on 2 songs because her voice makes me want to throw my CD out the window. You have Skylar Grey signed to your fucking label. She's amazing. Use fucking Skylar. She's there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But no, they used Liz Rodriguez all over the place at that time, and I just really hate her fucking voice. But other than that, the EP is like perfect, and I don't really love Bruno Mars's chorus on Lighters Up. But other than that, I love the album.
All right, what's number 3 for you, Brad?
I'm gonna stick with Eminem, but I'm not going with what you guys went with. By the way, I do love Bad Meets Evil. I'm gonna go with the Slim Shady EP, like the most famous EP. It's how Eminem gets signed with Dr. Dre. I bought this EP when it came out. I paid $10 for this fucking EP.
Should have bought more of them.
I know. Well, I mean,
Right.
so yeah, I went to whatever the hip hop site was you could buy CDs at. When I heard that Eminem, I heard that somebody from Detroit got signed to a major label and they were going to come out with a full LP later, and they had one of the Slim Shady EP left, and it was $10. And I picked it up, and you know, I mean, I think it's an incredible work for a local artist, right? I mean, a lot of that ends up on the Slim Shady LP. Not much has changed. Maybe a little bit. It's cleaned up a little bit. And honestly, I think it could have been number 1 for me, just because of memories. And that's about the time I started writing for Murder Dog, about Detroit rap, and when all the bands, you know, all of them kind of, they might have peaked all in different years, but like if you collective peak Detroit, like that time, 99, 2000, that was Esham was at his peak, Insane Clown Posse, Twisted, all those guys, and all eyes were on Detroit, and it was just a really fucking awesome time. So while I love Royce and I love Eminem, and it's again probably the better EP, like as far as rapping, and I mean he's a master of his game at that point. But the beginning is amazing, so that's why I picked it.
So top 2, we talked about it before, but I'm gonna bring it up again. It's way higher on my list. I go to 1992's Kiss My Black Ass. Like you said, it's probably Ren's. It's the first best work. It's the first time we hear him solo post NWA. Just like 5150, NWA is officially done, right? People think maybe, you know, Chronic blows up, Ruthless Records won't be able to survive, and they hit you with this and the 5150. Final Frontier is a classic single by him. You know, the title track has such good energy, Kiss My Black Ass. But behind the scenes, you know, when this came out, I'm still a kid. It was so ill to me. The story he was telling was just the coolest thing to me at that point in my life. So it holds a special place in my heart. MC Ren, Kiss My Black Ass. Number 2, Raven, what do you got?
I got 1993's Eazy-E. It's on 187 on Killa. It's one of the hardest gangster rap CDs to come out in that little era. Some of Eazy's best beats around that era. Like he said, it had that G-Funk feel on a lot of that shit, but you had Eazy just going off. Any Last Words is my favorite Eazy-E song of all time. Even to this day, you know, he never put anything better than that song. That song is just so fucking hard. And I had a Sam Goody promotional video, like VHS tape of that music video before the album came out, like when you
Cool.
pre-ordered it.
Yeah.
I wish I still had that. That thing is like stupid rare. But yeah, that song alone. But then you still had, you know, Real Motherfucking G's. That beat is just so classic West Coast early 90s gangster rap. And he goes off on Dre and Snoop. And I love BG Knockout and Dre's style. I actually liked their first solo, like their group album a lot. Blood Brothers, I think it was called.
Real Brothers.
Real Brothers, yeah. I love that album. So I love this album that I found them on.
So Brad, what's number 2 for you?
I'm gonna go with Ice Cube's "Kill It Will." We've already really discussed it, talked about it. I mean, it's amazing. from the funny, like always seeing it in Kmart with Ice Cube.
Yeah, well.
One of my favorite songs, Jackin' for Beats. I brought it in at number 2, and I'm gonna kind of do a controversial one at number 1.
Okay.
Hopefully you'll allow it, so we'll see what happens.
All right, which brings us to number 1. You both touched on it, of course. 93's Eazy-E. It's on. Like we've all said, I think it's damn near perfect. Dre disses him, and he disses him hard, but Eazy comes back right to the throat. He doesn't just do a song. Half the EP is fucking attacking Snoop, Dre, Dog Pound, Death Row. So from the diss songs like It's On and Real Motherfucking G's, then you get classic easy gangster rap like Any Last Word, Still a Brother, and probably the best Eazy-E sex song, Give Me That Nut.
Give me that.
It's so catchy. How can you not like that song, right? And even though it's the third version or remix of Boys in the Hood, this is probably, I'll always pick the original, but this probably is the best version of it. It's the most polished. The beat is great on the remix. And I even like
the best beat.
I even like the uniqueness of Down to the Last Roach. The psychedelic feel and the filter on his voice. I mean, a lot of people would take shots at that to call it not perfect. I even kind of like that. So this is Eazy at his best, one of the best to ever do it, especially if you're talking about gangster rap. What's number 1 for you, Raven? Are they from Cleveland?
They are from Cleveland, East 1999 to be exact. I'm a big fan. I knew Eazy. I had already heard Eazy Does It, and I had already loved Dre. You know, Dre Day had already been out. But the first time I saw Thuggish Ruggish Bones music video, it was like, fuck, this is different. Like for rap, this is different. And every song on the album hits. The intro is fucking interesting. Mr. Ouija's, you know, it's a dope lead in, and then you got Thuggish Ruggish Bone. No Surrender is hard as fuck. Down for My Thing is hard as fuck. Creeping on a Come Up is hard. You know, For the Love of Money, of course, Eazy-E. Yeah. One of my least favorite Eazy-E verses of all time, if I can say that. It's just so fucking slow in the middle of Bone Thugs verses. Right. And it was painful to watch the first time I heard it, but it ended up growing on me because it's Eazy, you know.
Right.
I was almost like, oh, Eazy fell off. Like, but nah, it turned classic once I got past just how fucking slow he rapped.
You'd rather have him do that than try to rap like Bone. That wouldn't have turned out well, probably.
No, that would be so fucking bad.
Terrible. No, like I said, they've literally changed the game. That's one of the few, you know, you have these little parts in time where someone comes that completely changes. You've never heard it before, and you got to give Bone credit. They did that. All right, Brad, what's number 1? What's the controversy at number 1?
All right. Well, give me 1 second though. I want to talk about that. I didn't pick Bone Thugs EP, but it's amazing. But I actually like the break with Eazy-E rapping in that song and kind of being very different than Bone Thugs. I always thought it was kind of cool. And I agree. Eazy should. I mean, he's never. I mean, he was a adequate rapper, but it was the sound of his voice that really made, and what he talked about that made him special. All right, so I couldn't find this, like, it didn't say it was an EP, but it kind of has 4 songs. It may just be a single, but I had to get this in because it's a short little 4-song album, EP, whatever, single that I really love. And it's Tupac's How Do You Want It? And I really wanted to put it in there because I fucking love Hit 'Em Up. I go back and forth. Is No Vaseline the best diss song ever, or is Hit 'Em Up the best diss song ever? And really it depends on my feel or my day. Both of them are amazing. It's got the better version of California Love. It's the faster one with the piano. And then it's got How Do You Want It, I think, which is pretty similar to the album. And then Two of America's Most Wanted. But for me, I oftentimes, even though I love All Eyes on Me, just the addition of those, the different version of California Love and Hit 'Em Up, like I just played that thing over and over and over and over again. And of all of these short, 10 things that we did, that one still gets the most play. So I don't know, do you consider it to be an EP or a single?
By definition, I would say it's an EP because a maxi single will have the song, a instrumental, a remix,
Acapella.
acapella, where an EP is different songs and every song on that is different.
Yeah.
So I will allow it.
All right.
They are the better versions of those songs
Yeah,
too, and
I
like
agree.
the best songs from that little set, along with Hit 'Em Up as well. So
No, that's a good one. I never even considered it. I didn't even think of that as an EP, but I think it is an EP. All right, that's our list. As always, I got to give my honorable mentions. I always got a big list if no one brought it up. This one's going to come a little out of left field, but we did talk about ICP. But Violent J did the Wizard of the Hood EP, which is a really cool concept record. It was on Carnival of Carnage. He did a song called that, but then he did a whole EP where every song is meeting the next character, Wizard of Oz. So I wanted to give that love. Cypress Hill did Unreleased and Revamped, which has some really good remixes on it. Brother Lynch Hung was my number 11, 24 Deep. I was showing it some love with the vinyl in the back. I really love that era of Lynch. Nocturnal LA Confidential. If you haven't heard that, it's great West Coast. It's got some great features. Above the Law, Vocally Pimpin', and then to round it out, Detroit stuff. We talked about Helter Skelter, but Shaggy Two Dope's Fuck Off. I mean, come on, that song is so great. I had to at least do that. And Misery, Per La Isla, is a very good EP. Very good EP. So those are my honorable mentions. All right, we all survived another round table. All right, guys, have a good night.
catch you on the next one.
See ya. Bye.
From the old to the new, still a B-boy. Too bold for the school, still a B-boy. East Coast to the West, B-boys worldwide, we supposed to be blessed. Still a B-boy. From the old to the new, still a B-boy. Too bold for the school, still a B-boy. East Coast to the West, B-boys worldwide, we supposed